Well, we've seen a number of disruptions on social media, especially because, I mean, for the most part, we are not in Nigeria. We are here in Ghana. So we feast our eyes on what's happening and what's being reported on TV and then on social media as well. Because, of course, social media has become another strong medium through which you can communicate and present your issues and all that. And sometimes I wonder if the politicians think we also don't see what's going on, or we also don't hear what's going on, or we don't even watch political shows on TV to be able to also be part of the analysis. Sometimes I don't get it. So if you, a politician, a lawyer, or someone in high ranking in society when it comes to political issues, get invited to come on TV or on radio to come and speak about the issues or speak to the issues, I want to believe that you want to be as sincere as possible.
Not take sides.
Exactly. But when you come and you make it look like, oh, these elections have been free and fair, of course, there have been pockets of disruptions here and there. We've heard about it. We've seen them even reported.
They're not just pockets.
But has there been a free and fair election before?
It's not even pockets anymore.
Worldwide, has there been a free and fair election?
Well, no, I'm coming to that. It may not be 100% free and fair, but the level of unfairness here on this side of the world in Africa, no, listen, that cannot be watered down, honestly. That cannot. Elsewhere in the world, okay, you don't see this massive amount of disruption. And then when these politicians and analysts come on TV and on radio, they try to make it look like it has been free and fair. How is an election free and fair with so much disruptions? And these are polling agents who were employed by INEC. And as reported by Komla Klute yesterday, they hadn't even eaten in about, 24 hours or over 24 hours. And all these things had been budgeted for already by INEC, by the commission. So where's the money? Where's the food? Now you don't even have access to Naira. So it means that there's no money in your pocket to be able to buy anything. So if I don't have money in my pocket to be able to order food from any restaurant or anything, how do I feed myself? And I'm asking, for Africans and our democracy, for how long are these things going to be going on? For how long? I've got too many questions on my mind, and it's like it's not going anywhere. You're not even getting
some of them to the gods.
You're not even getting people to provide the right answers. But maybe when Roland and I take over, we will continue. There's a video, there's a presser that was released by Obasanjo yesterday, correct?
Strong-worded one.
Yeah, very strong-worded one. Yeah, so
very strong-worded.
maybe when you say goodbye to us, we'll get to that.
But I feel concerns that we should, for instance, the LP is taking the, INEC to court over, some of these results. I feel they are early days, yes, Roland, because...
Yeah, but I think also on the screen is what's coming from the former president, Obasanjo, and he says that he's craving the indulgence of the president of the republic to make the statement because he'd had the opportunity to keep him aware of what so far is happening by way of a clear and present danger looming. On many occasions in the past, he has not hesitated to point out the lacuna in the action of the president and his government. And we do know how governments of the day take advantage of their presence as government or in the executive to be able to entrain themselves. So for the INEC, a lot of money was budgeted for. Now we have the machines, the beavers not working, not talking to each other. And it doesn't look like a story that we're not used to, The Ghana elections that we've witnessed, I believe, over the last two periods, especially in 2020 and 2016, are just a reflection of what's happening in Nigeria. It's just ours is a microcosm, a smaller bit, a minute part of what's happening in Nigeria. And I'm hoping that, well, we're supposed to be learning from the past. By 2024, this election that is taking place in 2023 in Nigeria would have been in the past for us in 2024 for Ghana. Now, we have currently an argument that is even being made about whether we should use only the Ghana card for present, ongoing, or new registrations. And I think it's an argument that the minority is making that needs to be taken seriously. And it is because the national identification system has not been in the best place of giving us the assurances that as far as we're related, they are in a position to guarantee that the Ghana card should be the only source document for voter registration. We could end up disenfranchising many young people or new voters or people who perhaps didn't have their names in the current register, which was compiled in the 2020 year for the general elections. And I think it's a consideration the Electoral Commission of Ghana needs to take and think about how that could lead to many people being disenfranchised. Well, George, you can go.
Oh, then, thank you.
And Cookie, just last year, we had many reports, especially from the Elwak Sports Stadium across the country, about how the National Identification Authority says that it is not in a position to provide cards within the period by which the NCA wanted Ghanaians to have those cards to register their SIM cards. And I think I personally would want to stand on that point to say that we have to hesitate slowly. And that hesitation slowly is coming on the back that if we know that these have been the responses of the National Identification Authority, then we have to add one more means by which Ghanaians who want to have their names entered into the register for 2024 general elections could have that access. It should not only be the Ghana card, because currently, if a page is ready and if Oliver will do as the honest, the National Identification Authority is telling us they owe their creditors $117 million US dollars.
Yes.
117 million US dollars. Already we are in a crisis. And we're told that over 60 million of that will have to be paid before they can continue to print cards. And you know, in the milieu of all the things that happen within the SIM card registration, sometimes you go to commercial banks requesting for your own cards, your debit card, for your ATM. And they'll tell you that there are shortages of cards across the country.
Yeah.
And I think we have to take this as serious as it is. We are not 5 years away from the next election. In actual fact, today, being the 28th of February, means that we only have 1 year as well as 10 more months for the next election. We actually have 1 year, 9 months for the election. 3 months for the election is for the preparation. And Cookie, to have the National Identification Authority owing its creditors 100 and whatever it is million US dollars, and they will need over 60 million to pay their outstanding amount, knowing that we already are in a difficulty as a country. There are German ambassadors, diplomats, other international community observers who are saying that we need to cut our quota according to our size. We need to reduce expenditure. The National Identification Authority needs to tell us that, look, this is the situation we're in. And so if the Electoral Commission, which has been empowered by the Constitution to organize elections, wants to send a CI to the Parliament of Ghana for new registrations to be undertaken only with the Ghana card, they should hesitate slowly. They should hesitate slowly. And this is a very serious matter. I remember during the SIM card registration, there were people who had already been registered and had Ghana card. Their Ghana cards got missing, and the National Identification Authority could not give them a replacement. Let's assume that somebody was not registered in the current register, wants to get registered in the current register for the next election, but has his Ghana card missing. The Ghana National Identification Authority is not able to provide that. How would that person get his name on the register for the 2024 general elections? And these are questions that we don't have to nip under the bud or decide not to talk about.
Right.
We have to talk about some of these things because we have areas in our country which are not reachable. We have stories that we go and do on mission where people cannot get access to basic amenities. And what is happening in Nigeria should tell us that something portends for 2024.
It does. It does. Ken Atefo has been given an explanation.
He's been telling you that?
As
or
to
it's
why,
publicly?
It's public.
Oh,
it's public
okay.
knowledge. He's been explaining away reasons for the amount that we owe. And then he says, according to him, although there are cards and capable staff to be able to process all these cards, a private company in the arrangement is owed the 117 million US dollars that we've talked about, and that's why they have refused to release the Ghana cards to the NIA. Now, he says that since about August of last year, we have experienced financial constraints in the system, and it's created a situation where even though we have 3.5 million stock of cards in a bonded warehouse, we are unable to access the cards because of the financial difficulty. Now, he says that he's hoping that in 6 months, he would be able to finish paying so that we can have those cards.
How is he going to pay? Is he the finance minister?
I'm sure he knows what he's talking about. He's not the finance minister, but maybe I'm sure he's in talks with the financial people.
Controllers of our country.
Exactly. So he knows what he's talking about. Now, he added that as of February 19th, the NIA had over 17 million people registered for the Ghana card, but there are still some 541,000 cards that have also not been printed. Now, this, he said, is because the government on Friday cleared some of the debts. The reason he gave for the 6 months, he says that the government has cleared some of the debts, and therefore the NIA is hopeful that going into next week, the cards will be released, and the rest of the 541,000 that have not been printed yet.
That is normal speech.
Yes, that have not been printed yet will be printed in less than 2 weeks. And then the backlog...
He said this publicly?
Yes, publicly. And the backlog that we have, he's sure would be taken care of in the next 6 months.
It is untenable. It is untenable because I remember the deeds, the words, the good works that he did at Shraj. Okay? And for somebody who is meticulous, and I've spoken to him before. I've had some nice interactions with him. And he's a very sincere person. But he should tell us what the reality is. Look, there are outstanding amounts that needs to be paid to various MMDAs. We're talking about municipal, metropolitan, municipal district assemblies. They are old funds. For a number of quarters, they haven't been paid. There are some outstanding amounts that the government of Ghana needs to pay. Already, the government of Ghana is now telling those who have bonds that their coupon returns will be paid, or are now going to be paid. Now we have members of our multilateral donor community telling us that we need to cut our quota according to us. We need to reduce our expenditure if we know that we are coming to them to go and beg for debt restructuring or forgiveness. We are going around telling some other countries to go to China to go and beg for us so that they don't come for their money, which we owe them. So we are in a serious crisis.
Very serious. Now,
if we know we are in a serious crisis, we have a database that has been compiled by the National Identification Authority, very good, for which everybody is supposed to have a Ghana card. but not everybody is able to access that Ghana card for good reason, then we should hesitate slowly. And somebody needs to tell the Electoral Commission that we respect you, you are independent, you are supposed to do what you are supposed to do, but not everyone. From the last time that you compiled the register in 2020, a period within COVID, where even borders were closed, where people who are even of Ghanaian origin, who are Ghanaians, may have Ghanaian identity, are on the other side of the border, could not come into Ghana to come and register, but will now need to register for the next election, but may not necessarily be having access to Ghana card, that there will be difficulties down the line. And so have another means by which people could be authenticated as Ghanaians, so that onwardly, apart from Ghana card, we can have those put in the register. It's a very simple matter. I don't know why the Electoral Commission is trying to create a situation where there's none. Why are we in a rush? Everybody knows that we need a database. When you enter every developed country, immediately you make entry into that country, you go into a shop, they ask of your passport. In some countries, you will see that all your documentation appears on a screen. It means that their system is working. If ours is not yet fully optimized, why are we rushing? Why are we rushing? Anyway.